What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another late night session for you guys today, and we're going to talk all Thomas Frank, Brian, and Mbuemo. Going to touch a bit on Ange again as well. But how is everyone doing out there?
No longer your birthday, Ben?
No longer my birthday. No.
No longer your birthday. No need to be nice to him anymore.
Yeah, thanks for that. But look, let's get straight into it and we'll see what we're thinking. First of all, to talk about Thomas Frank. Ben Jacobs says that Thomas Frank has told Brentford he wants to leave for Spurs. Frank's camp are already in talks over terms, with the Brentford boss the clear front runner now to replace Ange Postecoglou. Sky Sports says that Brentford are prepared to listen to offers for the Tottenham from Tottenham for Thomas Frank, who are interested in speaking to Spurs if given the permission. And Romano says that conversations have taken place in the last 24 hours with Frank already, with some approaches before Postecoglou's sacking. Tottenham will speak to Brentford. Very positive conversations ongoing. Tottenham are aware of Thomas Frank's position. He wants the job. He's keen on becoming the new coach. So, yeah, things are progressing.
Absolutely. I'm expecting an announcement soon. Obviously, we heard last week, actually, I think on Sunday, the day that all those journalists came out saying they heard that Ange was going to be sacked, we did actually hear that Frank had already accepted the job, and maybe that seems to be coming to pass at the moment. I think for Frank, he probably feels like, look, how much further can he take Brentford? You know, he's taken them mid-table. He's consistently overperformed the wage structure. I think apparently I read every season he's been in the Premier League, he's the highest performing manager compared to the wages. But
wages to points ratio or something.
Yeah, wages to points. And when it comes to the next step for him at Brentford, he probably just feels that this is probably it for him. There's not much more he can do here. Time to test himself at a higher level. And I understand that. And obviously, he's been linked to a number of jobs before. Maybe he never really felt like it was the right time, but now it is. And Tottenham's a good opportunity. Coming into a Champions League, a young squad who, whatever we want to say about how great winning the Europa League is, we all know we underperformed in the league. And yes, there are reasons for that, but that's just the bare facts of the matter. We did underperform in the league, and he probably looks at that opportunity and thinks there's so much that can be done here, probably.
Yeah, and I think the way I'm thinking about it as well, now the kind of emotion of, the raw emotion of Ange going is kind of all settled down now. I'm kind of thinking about this in a different way. And I actually think, all said and done, if you review everything, look at what Frank's done. First of all, I've always said that I'm excited about the Frank appointment. But I actually do think this is the right move. I do think it's going to be better for us. And I think that Frank, what you know from him, very good coach, improves players. Yes, there's a question mark. Can he make that step up? For sure. But I'm just looking at him, and with the squad that we have, I think this could be a really good fit. I really do.
Well, on paper, he's the perfect Levy appointment, isn't he? Let's be honest. Like, Levy will be licking his lips about what Frank is capable of, considering his job. I've said before, I think had we lost that final, it's a no-brainer. Like, this is the obvious choice. Having won the final, now got in the Champions League, and you put yourself in a different space, not just from winning in the Champions League, but a different space in terms of where the club is at with the squad and the manager and the fan base. I think there's opportunity there to kind of build on that instead of disrupting it. So for me, I still don't think it's the right thing, given that we won that final and we're in a different space. But I guess from the hierarchy's point of view, which makes sense, they were probably before the final planning on sacking him, as we've alluded to, and clearly Frank was the front runner before then. So having won the final, for them, they didn't want to change course. They wanted to stick with, okay, we were deciding to do this before the final, and we're not going to change our decision regardless of whether we won. And clearly they maybe wavered a bit and thought, there is something going on here. Do we really want to make this decision? Maybe that's what took so long. They decided to stick with their decision, which I think that they decided before the final. And we heard even, I think from, was it Romano, saying they spoke to Frank before the final, before the end of the season. So I think that would be in line with that. So I think on that basis, I like, again, I think for Tottenham and for Levy, he's a pretty perfect man in terms of his body of work and what he's done and where we can go. But again, there's a lot of question marks. And as much as he could be another Eddie Howe and Pochettino, he could very easily be another Graham Potter or Nuno. That's where we're at.
My gut feeling is telling me it's the former rather than the latter, to be honest. I really think he's a top coach. I really do. And I think he's going to come in here. He'll get the respect of the players, in my opinion. And, you know, the players are going through the same thing as the fans now. Very raw emotions of losing a guy that they grew an affinity with and won something with. But at the end of the day, they're professionals and they want what's best of their career as well. So they won't want to throw another season down the drain. So the ones that end up staying, the ones that, because it's going to be hard for some of these players to leave as well, because, you know, are they going to get the right offers for the club? Are they going to be allowed to leave and all this kind of stuff? So at the end of the day, they're professionals, and I think they'll buy into Frank's methods and the way Frank works.
I agree with you. And I think if you give this guy, you know, time and patience, he can build something here 100%. What I'm worried about is, are the fan base going to give him time? That is something I'm worried about. And obviously, I think we should do any manager, and we should be fair to him. But having won that Europa League and got into the Champions League, and, you know, after a second year in a project that's just been ripped up, are we going to then be patient with a mid-table finisher if that's what's going to happen in the first season or something? Not to say that is. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he'll hit the ground running and fantastic, for great.
I got a feeling he will, you know.
Huh?
I got a feeling he will hit the ground running.
Well, he might do. My point being, if I'm thinking logically, logically, it could take time. It could take time to get to, you know, top levels or whatever. And there's a good chance he might not win something in his first season. There's a good chance it might be a building process in this first season. And do the fans have stomach for that? And I'm pretty certain if we have a season like that, or we're, again, inconsistent or whatever, you know, you're going to get protests again. You're going to get pressure on the board. You're going to get a lot of fans being toxic and all that kind of stuff. Well, I guess I'm not calling it toxic. I'm just saying you're going to get a lot of disgruntlement, I should say. And
if the rumors are real, Sim, though, that about Levy, I'm not saying they are. I'm saying if the rumors are true about Levy, and he does end up going this summer, and then on top of that, we make a few like really nice signings, like we're going to get into potentially in Mbuemo. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but let's say we make some exciting signings this summer. That will get the fans well on board.
If Levy leaves, you can give him a decade. I think there'll probably be no disgruntlement. I agree with that. But I'm going off the assumption Levy's going to be here. Again, with all the Levy rumors, as much as there's noise, I'm more believe it when I see it. If Levy goes, right now I know there's noise, but I'll still be very, very shocked.
Manifest it, believe.
Manifest all you want. This guy is not going to go down without a fight, I'm telling you. So I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon, as much as there's a lot of noise. But look, I'm happy to be wrong. If I'm going to put money on it right now, I would put a lot of money on him still being here next season. That's what I would think. But if the noise is true and there is stuff going on, then 100%, I agree with you. I think the fans will be very patient with Frank. My point being, if it's another project under this ownership, and it's kind of has a stodgy start and it's not a great first season, I just worry the fans won't give Frank the time he probably needs in this job.
Yeah. Now let's get on to this Brian Mbuemo story coming from two different sources. Darren Lewis from the Mirror says that Thomas Frank has told Tottenham he wants to rival Manchester United for 60 million. Brian Mbuemo. Frank is set to be confirmed as Ange Postecoglou's successor next week and is keen to take Brentford's in-demand forward with him to North London. Tottenham would offer Brian Mbuemo around 130 grand a week, although bonuses would still leave them short of Man United's package to pull of Champions League football and Frank, who turned Mbuemo into one of the most feared forwards in the top flight. Alan Nixon says that Tottenham are trying to hijack Manchester United's move for Brian Mbuemo. Johan Lang, who worked with Frank at Lyngby, will play a key role in negotiations. So, I mean, it's basically, does he want to go join his boyhood club, earn a bit more money, or does he want to stick with Frank, play Champions League football, and come to Tottenham? Which button do you reckon he's pressing?
I think if you're putting the money into the equation, you know, apparently he's demanding 250 grand a week, which would put him 50 grand ahead of Son right now in as our highest earner. So will we match that? Is that something we're willing to do with this new Champions League money, or are we 100%? Or I know we should, but if we're being logical, we would probably tell him you'll be level with Son. That's what I think. You'll be on 200 grand a week, and you'll be a joint highest earner.
They're saying we're only offering him 130.
Who said that?
Well, I just read from the Mirror.
Well, then he ain't coming here if we only offer 130. I can guarantee you that. But if we're willing to at least make him our highest earner, or get close to what he wants, and he knows with Frank, he's got a good thing going. He knows that Frank knows what he's all about and how to get the best out of him. We've got Champions League football. United don't. There's no guarantee United get back in the Champions League next season, albeit they are looking very serious with their reinforcements. They got no European football. Amorim, whatever you want to say, has had a disastrous tenure so far. That's just a fact. It has been disastrous. I know he's not got his players and all that kind of stuff, and that could change next season. But from what we've seen, it's been a disaster so far. So there's no guarantee they get back into Europe next season. So he might look at that, think maybe going Frank, go to Tottenham and really raise my profile. Whereas I go to United, yes, it's my boyhood club, and that's where I want to be. But it's maybe a bit of a bigger risk in terms of how many good players have gone to United and just for one reason or another hasn't worked out. Is there a cultural problem there? All this kind of stuff. So I think it would be something to consider. But if we're intent on offering 130 grand a week, getting nowhere near his demands, I think he still goes United. I think the pool is still too strong, I would say. But I think with Frank coming here, I think it gives us a fighting chance. But again,
Frank's probably looking at it and being like, look, when I was Brentford manager, Spurs were the bane of my life, hijacking all the deals that I wanted to do. Archie Gray, they ended up getting Brennan Johnson ahead of me. Now it's my time to shine.
Exactly. Come on, let's do our own kind of hijacking. We've done a few hijackings over the last.
That's what I'm saying. We hijacked Brentford.
No, not just Brentford. A few just in general. Bergval, we hijacked. Dragoshin. Well, we kind of nearly got hijacked, then hijacked back. There's been a few hijackings, rehijacked. So I think, as I said, I think we can put a hat in the ring. I think Frank could put a good case towards Mbuemo as why he should come here. Whether it's enough, I'm not convinced. I still think he probably chooses the money in United, but at least we got a case forward.
There is no reason though why we shouldn't be offering parity with what Man United are offering right now. We're the ones that got Champions League football. We've got the ones that extra revenue coming through this club. All the extra revenue on top of that this club are earning. Plus, you've got players like Timo Werner, Fraser Forster, who are on big wages going out the door this summer.
Even rumours of Son. Potentially,
so
if he leaves, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't break the structure.
Even rumours of Romero, there could be major wages going out the door this summer. There's two confirmed, right? In Timo, 165 grand a week. Fraser Forster, 75 grand a week. If we're serious and we really want to back this manager, you go and get an Mbuemo and you go and offer if he wants to go to Man United and it's his boyhood club and that's the reason he wants to go there, then fair enough. You're probably not going to get him. But if there is a chance that we can sway him with Thomas Frank in Champions League football, you have to go on pay parity with Manchester United and put your balls on the table.
Absolutely. And I've seen some suggestions like people are overhyping Mbuemo just because of one good season. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. He's been great ever since he came to the Prem. He's been great. He's only been getting better. Last season was his best season. And obviously it's a season where he really broke out in terms of consistent 20-goal season. But before then, his finishing was getting better and better and better. He was getting more and more goals each season. And now he's become this all-round Premier League forward who's like a devastating player. Like he was getting to this point even before. The problem before was his finishing. Man. The problem before was just his finishing, and now he's really mastered that.
And I feel like he would suit. Obviously, he suits a Frank system. That's where he built his name on. But he suits it a lot more than going to play Man United for Man United.
I think so. Well, United play kind of this narrow kind of 3-4-3, similar to like Glasner. But like Glasner made it work for like Olise and Eze. But I feel like with that kind of with that system, those kind of players like to have the ball to feet a lot more and play a bit more centrally, whereas I think Mbuemo very much likes to play in behind, running into space, that kind of thing. And Frank knows how to play him.
Exactly. Frank has got the best out of him his whole career. Even in the Championship, when he was making his name there, he was absolutely brilliant. So hopefully Frank will have that sway with him, and if he does, it could be very interesting. And if we bring in Frank and Mbuemo as his first signing, now that is real reason to be proper excited.
For sure. And I have to say, when I heard the news that Mbuemo was going to go to United, it made me so much excited for Frank. I was like, one of the main pulls of like me getting excited for Frank was he could bring Mbuemo with him. So if that wasn't going to happen, I was like, oh, I don't even want it anymore. But if that can happen, and also thinking he had such a great link up as well with Toney, if he can replicate that with Solanke, that could be great.
Last but not least, Ali Gold back on Ange says that what from he understands, a lot of players quickly got in touch with Postecoglou and got a very heartfelt messages back. There was certainly dialogue between the players and Ange in the last 24 hours. I mean, it's just sad to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, I was watching his video, Ali Gold. He was saying that a lot of people around the club, not just players, but staff and staff within the club, not just like footballing staff, but, just like admin and whatever, general staff. They've also been very affected by his loss, and obviously he was great around the club and stuff like that. So yeah, he'll be missed clearly, and look, it's gonna hurt. But I feel like the pain won't truly dissipate until we finally see Frank in the job, and we finally, once he gets his first words to the fans and starts repairing that wound that I feel anyway, losing Ange. Then it won't truly start to heal yet. But look, time to heal it. I'm sure Frank will get a run on side, but right now it's still pretty raw.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, don't get me wrong. As much as I've said, I think this is the good move. Like, it still hurts. He still goes a hero, and he's still a legend of this football club. As much as I was against him for a lot of the season, when it's all said and done, he's broken the trophy drought. European trophy, a significant trophy as well. We've said it a million times. So he does go with a heavy heart, and I will. I think all Spurs fans should hold him in high regard. For a very long time. As much as we hold, the greats of this football club that have brought home big trophies. So he's always gonna, hold a place close to us. But I just do feel like it's probably the right move to bring in a manager like Frank.
Look, again, I don't agree right now. But anyway, apparently, according to a report from the Daily Mail, there's a Premier League club that's apparently registered their interest in him. I wonder who that would be.
Yeah, I was speaking to Brian about this, and I said, don't be surprised if it's Nottingham Forest.
Because there's rumblings about Nuno, isn't there?
Not just because of rumblings about Nuno, but also Marinakis and Ange, the Greek connection. I just feel like it could be Forest.
Interesting, very interesting. And also, maybe they're looking at the conferencing and thinking, we get Ange in. I think that we could easily win that. I mean, they should win it with Nuno anyway, but maybe they're thinking, Ange has won a European trophy. Would he want to add another one?
How harsh would that be on Nuno, though?
Huh?
How harsh would that be on Nuno?
It would be, but apparently they have tense relationships for one reason or another. That would be a complete switch up, wouldn't it, for Forest? So I don't know if it'll be a smart move, but it could be an interesting move.
Yeah. And finally, I'm just going to bring up a few more messages from players that have come in. This one from Brandon Austin, just saying, boss, thank you for everything and giving me an opportunity. And, Brandon Austin, been in the club for so long, finally got his opportunity and actually did himself in the club, a really good service.
He did. It was brilliant for I think 3 games he played. Didn't put a foot wrong.
Was it 2?
He played against Hoffenheim. He played against Newcastle, Elfsborg.
Maybe Elfsborg. Yeah, maybe
Elfsborg as well. Obviously, he got man of the match on his debut, didn't he, against Newcastle? So clearly, Andrews, trusted him on that game. Well, didn't have a choice really, but he did well. He did very well coming in. So I think he'll be forever grateful for Ange giving him the opportunity.
The next one was from Matisse Tell saying, thank you, coach. All the best for the rest of your career. And it's going to be interesting with Tell now because obviously they've been in negotiations So, do you reckon that Spurs are still going to try bringing in Matisse Tell, or this was relying on Ange? Was this a club signing? Was this on Ange's instruction? What do you reckon?
I think he's quite similar to what Brentford play in terms of their forward line. Like in terms of his profile, he's not too dissimilar to like a Sade. So I think Frank would want him. I think Frank would see that as a real good opportunity to develop him and the talent there. And I think for that, if we can get a good price for him, I still think we're going to go forward with it, I reckon.
Mm-hmm. And
whether he would want to stay, though, without Ange, I mean, that's a different question, I guess.
I don't know. He just seems to love it at Spurs. Maybe it was because it was under Ange. I don't know. But he just seems to love it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did. Maybe it's not an Ange thing. But I can't really say. But it'd be interesting to see if him leaving has affected anything from his side.
I think Frank could get a lot out of Tell. I actually think he suits Frank more than he suits Ange. And last one was Wilson Odebear, who just said, "Thank you for everything, coach." And Odebear, in a weird way, I think probably suits Ange more than.
I agree. I don't know what his future looks like under Frank. Maybe it's a bit more central. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because he doesn't. The kind of how he plays his forward players isn't so much suited to someone like Odebear, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of profiles fits what and who fits where.
Yeah. But look, that is the update that we have for you guys. So let us know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all those news stories. 1 second. And we've got a bit of a surprise for you as well, because we've got a guest joining the show. I'll give you one guess in the comments, guys, if you can guess who is coming on. It shouldn't take you too long, to be fair. But
who do we think is coming on?
Just before, while you're guessing, we'll bring on some super chats. Rich Frith says, "Nice to see you guys up late. Frank will be great." And big up to you, Rich. And one from our mother once again saying, "Judy Daniel, happy belated birthday, Ben. Let's hope this is a good and positive move." Let's hope so.
Mum, it's time to get some sleep. It's 1:30 in the morning. Why is Mum up so late? Big up to Mum.
Yeah. Guessed it right. My mum guessed it. Daigle.
She knows the channel better than anyone.
Annie Kiriakou, Drain Bagel, Brian, Daigle, Brian. I think we need to start surprising a few more people. It's becoming a bit predictable, this channel, isn't it?
Well, let's see if everyone got it right. They might have got it wrong. Oh, there he is.
First of all, I have to say, you know that my surname is stuck when your wonderful mother is calling me Daigle. Your mother's going, it's Daigle. First of all, Bennett, it's still your birthday on this side of the pond. So very happy birthday.
Thank you.
It's your birthday for another 3.5 hours here. So I'll celebrate.
3.5 hours, I'll take that.
There you go, got another 3.5 hours of it. But I hope everyone in the chat's good. Both of you boys are good. And I have to say, and I think I put it in our chat, we have so many people reached out and said they loved you being late on late night. It's the way forward. It's the way forward. Late nights on We Are Tottenham TV.
I'm enjoying it, man.
We are in HIJACK TV.
We are late night TV. There you go.
All right,
Brian, what's your thoughts? Obviously, I've been told that you're chief of the Frank Club.
Damn right. Frankie comes to Tottenham is my club. Frankie comes to Tottenham.
Frank Defence League.
I will say Matty K he can hear that now because he's trying to rival me for it. Listen, I'm very, very happy.
Brian, you know what your number one job is, Brian. You have to get you have to think of a Tottenham song we can make to the Thomas the Frank.
Well, I have been adopting the Ian right song, so I've been using that, but I will try and get a non-Arsenal related.
Has to be to the Thomas the Tank Engine tune.
Well, mate, if we can get Christian Eriksen to Agadoo, surely there's a chance. But no, listen, I am very, very excited. I wanted him before Ange Postecoglou. I even stumbled across another video of his. He did one of those hyper performance, I think it is, podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I listen to him on a new thing, I just get more and more excited about him coming. I rate him so highly. And you know what? I think more and more people are warming to it. I think more and more people are warming to Thomas Frank and looking a bit more into him. Obviously, there's been a lot of people going, "Oh, he's from Brentford. What's he won?" I think he really is a incredible coach. But what I have seen, I don't know if you guys have seen it when you've been. There's a lot of people taking their anger of Ange losing his job out on the incoming manager as opposed to the hierarchy. And I just hope people, when he comes, will give him the time that Ange was given to begin with, and a lot of the time he got, because Frank will develop these players. I really think he is so wildly underrated.
That's just the concern I have, Brian. That's what I was saying. That's the number one. Like, he's like look. There's a chance, as I've said. There's a chance he comes in and improves everything immediately. Yeah. There's a chance, and I think he's good enough to do it. But there's also a good chance, logically, like most managers have needed here, that he might need, time. He might need a year. He might need 6 months or whatever. Especially if Levy's still here next year, which I'm going off the basis that he will be.
Yep.
Do this fan base have the appetite for another season of a rebuild and all this kind of stuff? That's the worry I've got.
What choice do we have, though?
That's the thing.
Well, we could get banned. That's my point. But I'm just but that's what I'm saying. But like, that's what I'm worried about.
What are you worried about exactly? Like, how bad does it have to get for the fans to completely lose their shit, or like, how good does it have to be for the fans to automatically get on board with it?
I mean, I don't know, but if the football's not great immediately, if he has a start like Nuno, like 5 wins, 5 losses, is everyone going to be turning immediately? My point is, there's a good chance he's going to need time, and I don't know if this fan base will give it to him, given the current circumstances.
I think as well, Sim, with Nuno, from what I remember, he mainly played a back 5 at Wolves for a majority of his time. Then he came to Spurs, and all of a sudden he came a back 4. I think he toyed around that the last year at Wolves. When we got him as well with Nuno, you got to remember the mammoth. I think the main thing with Nuno, obviously the games and whatever, but the whole dilemma of trying to get a manager in that month, only to end up with Nuno, who was available on a free because he left Wolves in the first place. I think that had a lot to do with it. I think with Thomas Frank, you get a manager that will coach players better, does have different styles of play, will use. I think the first thing you'll see is the wing backs. When he plays about 5, being wing backs, none of this inverting, and he won't leave space like he did in the midfield. You can see it in the chat. There's people saying that he's a yes man, Frank. I don't know how you can even come to that assumption.
Well, we don't know. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing. How can he be a yes man at Brentford, where he's got no choice but to sell players? That is what Brentford have to do. They have to get players, develop them. We always look at Tottenham to buy small, sell low, when theoretically the size of us, we don't need to do that. It's just the method of our business and how Levy runs the club. Brentford have to do this.
Yeah.
Brentford literally have to do it to survive. And
He's brought them up from the Championship as well. It's completely different. It's a completely different dynamic.
Exactly.
Back what you're saying on the wing backs as well. We've actually got wing backs at our squad. They're natural wing backs, aren't they? That's what they were. That's what.
Well, you look at it with the other managers as well, Ben. We've had it where we've bought wing backs and then asked them to be full backs. We bought full backs, then asked them to be wing backs. You just got to look at Emerson and what we did with Emerson, whether you rate him as a player or not. But there actually is a setup there for a back 4, a back 5, a midfield, everything there. And I really, really think he could develop and get the best. I think he'd use Maddison completely differently, and Maddison would have his more free role to do what he did at Leicester. Like it,
Well,
like
he used him in the Damsgaard role, won't he?
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So I think there's players at the team. Don't get me wrong. We definitely need huge upgrades. But I think when someone like Thomas Frank goes in, there is the nucleus of a squad he can work with.
Is anyone, do we think, in the squad where we're thinking for Frank, maybe for Ange, we were going to have him for next season. Maybe for Frank might think, actually, I don't want this guy, or I don't need this guy.
I think you spoke about him in the update.
Who, Odebear?
No, Tell.
Oh, Tell.
Tell.
What, you don't think he'll want him?
I can't see. I can't see when you've got the amount of players we got there. Odebears, you might. I just can't see him wanting to use that. I don't think he would suit him. I honestly do not think.
I think the opposite. I think
You do? I think he'd give Odebear more of a chance.
I think the other way around. I mean, we were speaking about this in the update, and I think Sim was right in his assessment of Odebear. Well, we both said it, didn't we? That I think Tell will be more a Frank player than Odebear, in my opinion.
Well, only time will tell. I mean, first of all, let's just hope.
Intended, yeah.
Let's just hope we wake up and find out over the next couple of days that it actually is Frank. And I mean, I think it's nailed on Frank, and it's going to be done. But when we saw this silver talk and whatever, let's just hope that it is Frank, because otherwise it's been 3 days. It'll be 3 days of talking about Thomas Frank, only for it not to be Frank. But I think he comes in and really does do well at this club.
I'm trying to think of players in our squad that maybe Frank won't fancy, but I don't see many, to be honest. I think he'll like the majority of them.
Maybe it's a case
players that won't fit a Frank system, really.
Maybe it's more of a case of depending on how much money he has actually got, he may have other players in certain roles that he deems will be more suited to his style than what we have. But then that all depends to what he's got in his budget.
It's also so hard.
What about this? Do you reckon he re-signs Reguilon?
You know what? You know, if the Tottenham board tell him, look, you've got a budget for a new left back of 10 million. Maybe you go, I'll just take Reguilon back. Fuck it.
That would be the most Spurs thing, though, wouldn't it? Where it'll be breaking news: Spurs re-sign or Spurs sign former Brentford player. Everyone getting excited from Mbuemo, and it's like we've re-signed Reguilon. One
thing I've heard a few people suggest is Frank coming in. Is that a good thing for Kinski? Maybe. Because he definitely picked Flecken because he's very good with his ball playing ability. That was his number one strength.
Raya as well.
And Raya as well. He definitely likes that. He definitely values that a lot. And obviously we know Kinski is much better on the ball than Vicario. So maybe if you're Kinski, you might be happy about that.
100%. 100%. I think Vicario starts as our number one. But I think Kinski needs to get better at his shot stopping, first and foremost, as he progresses. But I can see as it progresses, I can see it, man. I really can see it. Someone in the comments is talking about players like Manuel Solomon, Richarlison. Do these guys fit in under Frank?
Manuel, I don't think so. Richarlison, I don't see why not. But I think again, it might be a club decision to sell him. But Rishi, I think Rishi could work under Frank. He could even work on a bit of a wide forward role as well, because I think that probably works better than the wide forward roles under Ange for Rishi. I would say.
He really likes pace in his attack, though, doesn't he, Frank?
He does. Yeah, he does definitely like pace. That's very true. It's so hard as well to judge Frank in the sense that a Frank system, because it's like he's had so little to work with in a sense at Brentford. Like he's always working on touch and tight budget. He's always got to work with kind of limited talent, put it that way. And it's going to be very interesting to see now he's got a lot more talent at Tottenham, a lot more skill sets. And he's not just basically relying on like Jensens and Norgards. And look, good players in their own right, but they're limited players, right? He's got them in because they listen to tactical instructions. They're hardworking. They're kind of competent at most things, but obviously they know they've got no outstanding qualities, these guys. So it's going to be very interesting. Now he's got like Deckies there, Madison's, Bergbaus, people like Odebear and whatever. what he can do with these guys, what he thinks. Is he going to change up how he does things, or is he got a certain style that he does at Brentford because he's kind of had to use that style at Brentford?
But even at Brentford, he hasn't had like a certain style. He's mixed and matched for the opponent that he's playing against, and I think he'll do that at Spurs, just to a higher standard, to a better level.
I'm talking about how he's used certain players. Is it because they're limited, so he's had to use them? Is my thing. Is my
Probably,
and
yeah.
Now he's got so much more talent. Is he going to use them is he going to be using them in a much different way?
I think so. I think he's very good at, using the tools at his disposal to the max, pretty much. And I think he showed that at Brentford. Obviously, like you said, working with a lower caliber of player. Now he's got a higher caliber of player. I think you'll see it on a higher level.
I think another player that could actually, whether people want to belittle him or who could thrive under him, is Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson, I've been doing loads of stuff with looking at Frank. He will play him more as an inside forward. He will not be asked to play on the right wing. He will come more central and play off a striker. Now, whether people want to say that he's an awful player, and people do think that, there are a lot of people that think that, but that's because he's playing out wide on the right. If he was to ask to be more direct and more central off a striker, he could then become a completely different player. Not saying you're going to see dramatic improvements and he's all of a sudden going to go world beater, but he could have a complete different game plan for Johnson.
But you know what, Brian? The way I see Brennan Johnson in a Frank system, particularly in the games where we're kind of the underdog and we're going to be relying to work on the transition a bit more, I can see him playing the central role.
Yeah.
Like completely central,
two up top, especially with the two up top as well, or even a one up top. But, I think he's done that role before, hasn't he?
You look at as well the way Wissa, his development under Frank. Like he started off as a wide player, and this season, he's got the best out of him as a central player.
He's got very similar qualities to Wissa.
Yeah,
I feel very similar. Brian, what do you think of the talk of a potential hijack for Mbuemo?
Well, sure. Listen, everyone. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday. Danny, who I know is in the chat, loves him, and obviously they came up.
Do you think there's a chance?
You've got a lot. I mean, I'd heard the same or read the same as Ben, that we're about. I think we're 140, 130, and Man U were offering 250. It all became.
He wants 250. I don't know how much.
He wants, or Man U are offering him.
He wants 250 from United.
Okay.
Have they not agreed personal terms?
Huh?
Have they not agreed personal terms? United.
Well, he wants to go there, but I don't think I don't know if what they've agreed. He wants 250. That's what I heard.
Well, this is the thing. I heard you guys talking about it. Let's put it this way: if you're on 50, if he came to Spurs on 140 or whatever it is, it's life-changing money. He's not going to want for a day in his life. It's whether you want to stay in London Champions League football currently and play with a manager continuously who knows to get the best out of you and continuously play you and get the best out of you, or go to your boyhood team. That's the issue. Is, do you go with the guy that you know and love, or do you go, and if you go to United and settle in really quick, you become a hero at your boyhood club? It's a hard choice, isn't it? If we were all in that decision and we're at Brentford, it was Tottenham or Man U, I know I'm picking Tottenham every time.
Yeah, but it's not like he's a Mancunian boy born.
No, that's true. I mean? That's true. That's very, very true. You would hope people say they want Champions League football, wouldn't you? Man U are miles off it and definitely haven't got it. We do have it this season. Is that a big enough
project? Does he believe in more? That's
also a good point. And with the project with Frank, he's going to know it. He'll go in there and know it from day one, won't he? He'll know the trading. So you would hope that would have some weight to it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I feel like it could happen if Spurs actually are serious about it, and we offer him maybe not exact pay parity, but very close to. I think it's something that can definitely happen. I really believe it.
Yeah, we need to match. We need to show that we're like that. We need to show that we want him more than United do. We need to put that money on the table literally give him. Obviously, it's hard to say give him what he wants because you have to have some sort of negotiation. But we have to be serious. We have to like, okay, you want to? We'll give you 250. Like we're willing to pay Brent the money. We're willing to pay better terms than Brentford. What Brentford want in terms of the money, like in terms of structuring the payments, all that kind of stuff. Like we want you more than United, and we're still more.
What's the fee? It's
60 million, 60 to 65.
Okay, so I was about to say, if it was cheaper than SA, you can go that way and do one or the other, and then Tottenham would probably go for the cheaper option. But if they're around the same, then, but yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. And if Thomas Frank could say, listen, if I'm coming, I want, this could be one of his first, get me Mbuemo, and Spurs will be in a difficult situation if they're going to bring him in and say, right, this is your number one target. Get him through the door and go, yeah, about that. So if Frank seriously wants it and it's doable, I think Spurs have to do it.
Is there anyone else from Brentford under the radar that maybe we should be looking at? Maybe like Frank could bring with him.
I like Wissa. I like Damsgaard. I like the left back. What's his name?
They've got
Rico Henry.
Rico Henry. I mean,
he was out for the season, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was out for the season.
He's a really good player, man.
Well, yeah, he was injured for a year. He had a big injury, didn't he?
Why is his name gone? Why is his name gone from my not Wissa, not Mbuemo? Who's the other forward?
Charde.
Yeah, I really like him.
Question is, are those players better than what we got, or are they just good because he's got the most out of them at Brentford?
Yeah, the other thing you remember as well, Sim, is I can't remember, not just from Spurs. Can you remember many managers that when they leave, they start stripping their previous team bare?
It doesn't happen that often.
So I think, do you know what? I think it's more important if I had the choice, Frank comes and gets to bring his whole backroom team, and I mean whole backroom team, or he brings Mbuemo, I'm picking his backroom team every time. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing with it for me, because obviously we saw it with Nuno, who didn't bring his assistant, Slot, Nagelsmann, and other ones that haven't been able to bring the full coaching staff that they wanted. I think that is a big thing for us.
Mm.
What about some of the loan players coming back? Will Frank want any of those, do you think? Donnelly, who else is coming back?
My boy, Alfie,
Divine, Kinski, Abbott, Vuskovic. I don't know, man. It's hard to make a judgment on that because they haven't played at the level yet.
A lot of people I've seen suggested that this could be a good thing for Ben Davies potentially.
He's going to Milan, isn't he, or wherever it was, and we're getting tomorrow.
Well, maybe it changes things.
That might have been Ange.
Maybe it changes things.
No, with Ben Davies, forget. I know the comments are going mad about Ben Davies and whatever, but again, if you go watch a load of the things, he likes people like that. Like he's got Ben Mee from Burnley, and he keeps them in the dressing room, and he gives them very specific jobs. I was watching this high performance one all week. He was saying he was explaining what he does during the week to get the team ready for the game ahead. Like he proper prepares for like 3-4 days, and like on the Friday, what he does as well is he gets his B team or the subs and everything to literally play the roles of what the opponent are going to be. And he uses them, not just uses them in that job, which obviously all first teamers want first team football, but he gives them integral roles within the dressing room. Ben Davies could be one of those for that more coaching side and present side. But we do need better as a squad member.
Who this is going to be great for as well, if he is sticking around for next season, is Sonny, because I think it plays Sonny in is where he's most dangerous. And I think if Sonny does stick around for next season, and he can have that conversation about not doing too much defensive work, and other players will cover for it, I think we could have an unbelievable last year for Sonny.
I agree. I think it could fit him very well. It's going to be interesting to see what his main formation will be at us. If he immediately thinks this squad's more suited to a back three system, does he continue to do the back four like we've been playing, under Ange mostly? It's going to be very interesting to see how he assesses the squad.
I think he initially keeps it at 4-3-3 for like the first few weeks as he's bedding everyone in and stuff like that. And then you'll see variations as things progress. But I do think probably our go-to formation will be 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, kind of a hybrid between them. And maybe in the big games, I think you'll see us move to a 5 at the back.
That's what he always did. He always, when I was watching this video about how he goes to the back six, he was like, big six. And obviously it's Brentford, not Spurs, straight to a back five. He never man marks. He was talking about when he was playing Manchester City. He goes, do you man mark De Bruyne? Do you man mark Haaland? They're like, nope. But we play in a style that always two people have got eyes on him. He's like he comes up.
They always gave City a very good game every time they played against.
Mate, the season. I remember I was in the studio with Nick doing the Leeds watch along. Do you remember before the World Cup break, that 4-3 game, and they battered Man City at the Emirates.
Oh, the Etihad, yeah.
They absolutely took him to the cleaners. He's just got away with. He's got a better Big Six record than what Ange Postecoglou had. Whether you like Frank or not, love Ange or not, he's got a better Big Six record in the last 2 years.
Do you reckon he buys a long throw taker?
He just buys them for that. It doesn't matter about the football. I mean, are there that many about?
I don't know. Who's a long throw taker who can play football?
There you go. So there's when you need KPV in the chat, he's nowhere to be seen.
A long throw taker that can play football apparently is a man aged in his 30s. That's been done for attempted. That's been attempted something or other.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
We'll go sign the guy from Tamworth.
Get him in.
Yeah, go get that guy in.
That's one thing. Yeah, I think getting Brentford set piece coach, that could be very valuable to us. I would say. Yeah, they're very, very good at set pieces. Very good.
It's pivotal. Is that the right word? It's so important that the backroom staff do come, because as we were all speaking yesterday, his scouting network is phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal. And we would hope that he's able to use that and embrace that.
What does this mean for Archie Gray? How much minutes is he going to see next season? Where is he going to see the minutes?
He wanted him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were saying Sim at the end of the season, maybe Archie Gray needs a bit of a loan spell, go to Leeds or something, play consistent.
Yeah, with Frank, I would say probably not now.
Yeah.
I think he keeps him around.
I agree.
Midfield, I think. Midfield, yeah. Midfield.
Well, that's the thing. We told him we're going to play him in midfield, didn't we? It's one of the reasons he wanted to come. Frank obviously really wanted him, and Brentford did. So that's a good thing. There is a play there, isn't there? I think the price tag was huge, and maybe he did need to go on a loan this season to get more first team football and regular first team football in a desired position of his. I think this season would be an education, or last season would have been an education for him.
You know what you were saying, Ben, about during the season, if we sell Romero, there's a good chance we won't even replace him because we've got these other defenders. Yeah. I did strongly disagree with you when we had Ange, but I actually think now we have Frank. There's a good chance that might be true.
Yeah, well, we got Danso, we got Dragoshin,
Van der Ven. Maybe he keeps Vuskovic around or something. But I think Danso and Dragoshin.
Think he'll like Phillips.
I think he'll like Phillips, and I think he would like Dragoshin and Danso. I think he'll like both of them.
Yeah, agreed.
They're very good aerially, and he values that a lot.
Mm. Yeah, no, I can see it. We've got a host of centre backs even without Romero, but it's just a shame, because the level does drop significantly for a starting centre back.
But I think under Ange, it's much more crucial to get a really high class replacement because of how much we leave players up, and he's up by himself a lot and he has to handle a lot. But with Frank and Brentford, it'll be a different matter, I think.
So I agree, but having said that, where are the key positions then we need to strengthen in a Frank system or in a Frank squad? Is it just the forward line? Is it bolster the midfield a bit more? Like what we're saying?
Front line for me. Front line.
Probably, yeah. It's difficult to know. It's so hard to know because in a Frank system, we don't know what that would look like with our players. Like it's difficult to like. Technically, theoretically, all the players we have should fit. There's no reason why not. So, in theory, you could sign no one, and there should obviously be big improvements in theory. But it's hard to really know kind of how his tactics are going to upscale to our squad. Like, it's impossible to say, really. I think obviously you want more quality in the front line. I think, could Solanke be getting more goals now? Like, are we going to see a better Solanke potentially this season? Maybe get another striker there to compete with him. I think is he might want, instead of Ange, maybe who kind of wanted two proper number 9s, he might want a pacier one to counteract Solanke, a pacier number 9 who can really run in behind, like with Solanke.
Can Solanke do the job that Toney did for him?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I agree. But I think someone's put it in there as well. Not only the front line, I think one thing he does need, and he needs a monster 6. So there is someone that's put it in there a couple of times. I think Spurs need that regardless. It's fairly
like Norgard.
Exactly.
And who's the other one in there with him? Jensen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Norgard and Jensen.
We need. I mean, if you look at it, and I know this is like different. If you look at the two very good times in our time with Harry Redknapp and Pochettino. Yes, we had Dembele and Sandro, but when the additions of Wilson Palacios and Victor Wanyama came to pair with them, we were different animals. And right now, we haven't got one of those. I think we need a Palacios / Wanyama, like a proper hard as nails number 6, whoever the manager is, whoever. But I think Frank would want one immediately.
If I could offer you just 3 positions that we're going to strengthen in this summer, what 3 positions are you taking?
Go on, Tim.
6, right wing, and 6 right wing and left wing, I guess.
I'm going.
Surely we need a fullback as well.
I was going to say.
No, you're saying improvement. You're saying, or just signings.
I guess improvement to the starters.
Like, I don't think we need an improvement necessarily on Ndoggy, Porro. Well, I guess you might if we sell Romero, we might, but yeah, definitely need a number 6. I think got 8s there. Yeah, we definitely need a right winger and probably a left. Yeah, 2 wingers, I would say.
So not too dissimilar to what we needed under Ange then. Brian, what do you think?
Hard to know. I need to really look into Frank in terms of what we really need. But that's on the face of it. Still, yeah, I guess.
I would say someone up top. Definitely number 6. And I just feel, especially because we're going to be playing in 4 tournaments, I think we need a left back. And the only reason I say left back is I know Spence can go left and right, but he's predominantly right, isn't he? And it's like Porro, like we had with Trippier, Rose, Walker, and Davies. I think we need another left wing back or left footer at the back to be able to rotate with Destiny and not just go right. Spence, you're going there. Spence, you're going there. Spence, you go. So I think that definitely number 6, and then I can't decide with a striker or right wing. I think they're both crucial. I think
if we can get João Palhinha, I think he's so much more suited to Frank than Ange as well.
João Palhinha would be a game changer for us, in my opinion.
Especially under Frank. He's basically just like a far, far better version of Norgard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
I think if you got those, I think we look a completely different. And then you allow Frank to coach what you've got. If you go and spend, I mean, the players we're kind of talking about, like the left back, I'd love to go and get, but obviously I don't think he'd come because he's not guaranteed first team football. I'd love to go get the Fulham left back, Robinson.
Mm.
I'd love to get him and have the competition there with Destiny, but I don't think he'd leave for not guaranteed first team football. Paulinho would be the number 6. And then you're looking at, see, we haven't even mentioned Eze. And Eze is my dream, like, flagship one for years.
Where does Eze fit in?
That's the thing. That's the thing. But I think you can find room for Eze.
The only thing you'd say about Eze is in terms of where does he fit in, if Decky really is out for like nearly a year, if that's true, then you might have to kind of move forward as if he's not going to be part of the plans next season.
Under Frank, is Decky more of a central player or a right winger?
Yeah, I was thinking this. I don't know. Maybe a right winger. I don't know. Because physically he should be able to play centrally as well, but he never really plays with like 2 number 10s. But then again, has he ever had 2 number 10s to play with? So it's hard to say.
I actually think Kulusevski could be one of the players that may be surplus to requirements on the Frank. I think when we're talking, listen, we are going to lose some stuff. We are going to have to, not we have to because of financial reasons, but if we're going to spend big or whatever, there's going to have to be someone. And I think down the line, Kulusevski may be a player that Frank may say, do you know what? There's others that can do it. I'm not saying it. I could see him being one of the first teamers that may be under threat when he comes back from his injury.
Because, like, when you're looking at what Frank wants from his number 10, it's more like the Ericsson type. You know what Damsgaard is like. Someone that can thread the ball through the eye of a needle. I don't think Decky's that player. No,
but he does like physical players, and Decky's definitely that. He definitely likes his physicality. Like if you look at the Brentford team, it's just full of it. So I think he would like Decky. He would find a role for him. But that's the thing I'm saying. Like we're saying a Frank team and all this kind of stuff, but it's like it might look very different at Tottenham, you know, with all this different talent. You know what I mean? Of what a Frank team looks like. Just quickly, Poch has been talking about the Tottenham job.
Has he? What's he said?
He said, I think since I left in 2019, my name has always been rumoured on the rumoured list. Today, it's not realistic. Look where I am. Look where we are. The answer is so clear.
Yeah. Poch is the fullback option if it doesn't go well for Frank in the first year.
Apparently, he became the first ever USA manager to lose 3 games in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he going to get sacked before the World Cup?
I don't know if you saw. Do you see Johnny Cardozo's mistake today?
No, I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Didn't want him anyway.
Didn't want him anyway. He was in his own box, and he was basically like the keeper played it short to him. He was like playing it out the back, and he just hits it straight at Goulart, and it goes and it went straight in.
That's mad. All this twerking for Poch we've been doing for so long. If he gets sacked from USA, do we even want him?
Good question.
I can't remember you said when we got rid of Conte, were you in favour of him coming back at that point?
I've always been in favour of him coming back.
Okay. Yeah, I've stuck to my guns under Levy. I don't want him anywhere near this club.
Well, I remember when I spoke to Donna Cullen, they were trying to get him back before Nuno. That was when it was really serious that summer. She said that he was really pushing for it, that Poch was, but PSG wouldn't allow it. He really wanted it, but PSG really wanted him to stay, so they wouldn't do a deal.
And then they ended up getting rid of him anyway.
Yeah. Then he ended up going to Chelsea.
Yeah, they got rid of him a year later.
I just don't see. I mean, obviously, look, we all remember the magical times he gave us. It was the best, apart from watching Paul Gascoigne. Watching Pochettino's Tottenham was the best Tottenham I've seen, apart from seeing, like I said, Paul Gascoigne. But I just don't want him here under Levy. I just think it will end in failure again.
I've always been. Go on, Brian. Sorry.
No, I was just about to say. By
the way, just quickly, if you that wasn't the full quote. If you look at the full quote, it does paint a little bit of a different picture to what he actually said. This is what Calvin. This is the full quote. He said, I've seen rumours 100 coaches on the list. Don't be worried about that. But then he says, if something happens, you for sure will see. But we cannot talk about this type of thing. So a bit of a different kind of, maybe he's still thinking about it.
Still say is, today it's not realistic. Look
No,
where I
today,
am.
but I'm saying is he said if something happens, you for sure will see.
Yeah.
I
don't think anything is going to happen though.
Not this summer. I think we're clearly getting Frank, but
I do feel like I still feel like he'll be back here one day. I just don't know when that day will be.
That I do think, but I just hope it's when it's new ownership, people that will invest, because he can do it, but he just needs to keep refreshing the squad, didn't it? The squad went stale.
Yeah.
And that's what did it.
Do we think, like, I've always not been of this thinking. Do we think that bringing Poch back is just a bit of a recipe for disaster and it can never be as good as it was the first time?
I think that's a good case to make for it, to be honest. Yep. He hasn't gone well really at any of his jobs since whatever context you want to put in it. Just the facts, it hasn't really gone great wherever he's gone since leaving Spurs. PSG just didn't. Well, I guess just didn't win the Champions League. Well, I guess he didn't win the league in his first season either, but he came mid-season. Won the league second season, but didn't do well in the Champions League. Got sacked quickly. Chelsea finished sixth, was out the door very quickly, albeit harsh, but it went out. And USA is not doing too well at the moment. So there's a case to say, has he adapted to? Because look, when he came to Tottenham and when he came to Southampton, his tactics were very revolutionary at the time in the Premier League. That super high press, those wide centre backs he was playing with Alderweireld and Vertonghen when at goal kicks. Like these are things that the Premier League hadn't really seen before. I mean, it caught everyone off guard. And now those kind of things are very commonplace, and a lot of teams adopt these kind of tactics. So has he found a new way? Because whatever you want to say about Pep and Arteta, they find new ways to revolutionize their team and how they want to play every year, especially Pep. Pep's a master of it. Every year he finds a new way of playing. He finds a new tactic, and it's not just like one thing. So has Poch ever found that new way? I don't know. That's the big question mark. But then again, if you pour more investment into his way of playing, will it still be good? I think there's arguments for that too. But yeah, it's also a big argument to say, it's 10 years after he first joined Tottenham, has he really moved on his way of playing to how teams adapt these days? I don't know.
Well, the thing is as well, do you actually think he's actually suited to international football? Because we know how rigorous his training and everything is, and he only gets them occasionally, and you can't really cram that fitness into that time. I mean, at the World Cup, it's different. He can really grill them and get them for a month and really try and get the fitness down with them, but he can't really do it at international level every month for a while in the start.
Exactly. You need that time on the training ground,
exactly.
not just for the fitness, but the pressing structure, getting that all together, consistency. You need that time, and you don't get that time. That's why, if you look at international football, it's always the kind of more defensive teams that do better. I know Spain's a bit different, but Spain, when they were at the heyday, they're all together at club level anyway. So that's why they played so well. And right now it's a bit different. But look at France, very kind of pragmatic, kind of just with quality up front, and that's because at international football it's very hard to kind of drill in patterns of play and things like that in a short space of time. It's all about just like being solid defensively. Even England, that's kind of what we did under Southgate, just solid defensively, had a bit of quality up front, and that's how we got to 2 finals.
Don't talk about England, mate. Today was an absolutely.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either, but I've read a lot about it, and I've seen the highlights. Well, not much highlights because there was nothing to show. Like 1-0 against Andorra.
Do you know what? Again, we look at it like when we had the final against Man U. It's about winning those games. I know it's Andorra, and you're meant to smash them for 6 or 7, whatever. So win's a win. We're going. I mean, it was. Believe me, I watched it. The fact that he gave Jordan Henderson a start, and then brought my guy Morgan Gibbs-White on for 1 minute.
Apparently, Tuchel said after the game that he's going to absolutely lay into them tomorrow when they go through the game.
There you go. That's another 3 points, and Harry Kane's got 3 goals. He's scored in each of his opening 3 games. The machine keeps going on. And it's another.
Should we read the super chats?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hamish O'Meara says it's sad we've sacked the one who's. Oh, do we read that one already? Ariane said, "Oh, we haven't read the one." It's sad we sacked the one man who succeeded.
It is sad.
Yeah,
it is sad. It's harsh. Look, it's very harsh on Postecoglou, and if I had the decision at the time, I probably would have kept him on. But like I said before, like I just feel like this could be the right move for us.
Yeah.
Ariane says, "Big up everyone. Calm panel today. Big up, Ariane.
I haven't seen Ariane for ages. Big up, Ariane.
Was he on a panel with you? Oh no, were you not on that panel?
No, I wasn't on it. I saw him. He was on your he was on your panel show last Sunday when I was coming back from date night with the wife. I haven't spoken to him. I have to reach out to him. Top man.
Michael Helman says, I'm a huge fan of Manor Solomon, but I don't think he's good enough for where we want to go. I'm concerned Levy will force the next manager to adopt Manor.
I think if Levy has his way, he'll probably sell him because he wants the money in.
Yeah, I think in terms of how he would do under Frank, I think it's better we sell him as well. I think he's not really, from what I've seen from Frank anyway. Jordan Maldonado says, supporting this club, it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, only for Levy's train to sack and steal our glory and chug away. Cheers, guys.
That's Levy for you, mate.
Welcome to my world, or welcome. This is what happens. This not my world, everyone's world, but it's what he does. It's what he does.
Frank better hope he don't get to no finals or win an actual trophy because we know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Ben Thoban says the night stream really epitomizes the true nature of an undercover hijack. I love it. Come on, we never sleep.
We're working on this all night for you guys.
And let's hope Spurs are working on a deal for Mbuemo at the same time.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine a double announcement?
Oh, that a double announcer will hit like crack, I tell you.
Yeah.
That will hit. Malware says, I love Frank. He just looks like a mad scientist, always got something cooking up his sleeve. Let's the board this Thomas train. Big Ange, always a legend.
100%.
So he does look like a mad scientist.
He does. All aboard Thomas the Frank Engine Man. Chew, people.
I love it.
It was good. Thomas Frank seems like in like 4 years he's going to be like Doc from Back to the Future. That's the kind of character he is.
Mate, he's going to be like David Ginola and get a L'Oreal advert.
Yeah, it could be that.
What he's going to do.
Isaac Kim says Van de Ven, Radu, Dancer will be our back three if Kuti leaves.
Yeah, I don't disagree, mate. And I think for a Frank three at the back system, that's a really good back three.
100%.
I think a back three as well. Maybe that means Vuskovic might stick around if we're playing a back three as well.
Or Phillips. But you know what? Again, the style of play that Frank will play as well, it won't be such a highlight. Listen, everyone's going to... Frank will want to utilise Van de Ven's pace, but he won't be playing as high up and asking Mickey to do the amount of running that he does. I think Frank in a back five and the way he plays defensively could be a huge blessing for Van de Ven and keeping him fitter for longer.
Yeah, agreed.
C9 Maniac Manic says, said it for months, my comp for Brennan is Jota. My comparison, I'm guessing. Jota.
He's not a Jota. He's not a Jota.
Oh, I'd love it.
I don't think he's a Jota either.
I'd love a Jota. I'd love it.
We ain't getting Jota.
No, never in a million years.
Be a Jota.
In terms of, and I know what he's trying to say though, like kind of player who doesn't do much, then he'll just pop up with a goal. That is similar, but it's different kind of profiles.
Yeah.
Jack says Frank Brentford really wanted Johnson and Archie Gray. Yeah, he did. And be interesting. And also someone was saying Jed Spence as well. I don't know if that's true, but someone was saying it. And Crazy Rat, here he is. Sim, the Spurs fan with passion so true, making videos about Tottenham through and through. From matchday vlogs and tactical insight, you bleed Lily White, morning, noon, and night.
You know what? I reckon. Well, whoever Crazy Rat is, whoever he is, he's got pictures of you on his bedroom wall, like when we used to get the Shoot magazine and put our favourite footballers up.
Sim super fan.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. You got your super fan. That's it. That's it. That's exactly it.
Big up to Crazy Rat. Big up.
Someone make a song about Daigle.
Yeah, well, where's the other
good ones like that?
Oh, Jesus Christ! Why'd you do these things to me, Ben? Live on air. They might not be the most pleasant.
Why
it's
not?
all banter.
Of course, they'll be pleasant, mate. No one has a bad word to say about you, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But look, I think, I think we're going to go for an hour, and I think that's all we got time for tonight. But yeah, I like these late night streams, and there you go. People have got some positive things to say about me. Ben out.
Yeah, he said Daigle out before it, mate. It's it's no, but honestly, like I said to you boys, and I hope people in the messages afterwards, if they're watching this live or afterwards, there are a lot of people that I was speaking to on this side of the pond that were saying they loved seeing you two, especially obviously in the channel, being up at this time. Obviously, it plays havoc with you when you got to go to the Shearer the next day, but there are a lot of people that loved you being on so late and on different time zones. So let's hope it's the first of many. Or second of many. This is,
to be honest. I
you enjoy them, Ben? You enjoy them, yeah?
I enjoyed this one. Big Country Chris says, I've got pics of Sim on my wall and Daigle in the shed. What about me, mate? Where's your pictures of me?
No pics of you, mate.
No pictures of
the
me.
Shed is normally where the dartboard is and the man cave is, so I'm probably on a dartboard somewhere. So all good, all good.
Yeah, but big up to everyone out there. We'll see you all tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more Spurs news to get into tomorrow as the Frank news progresses, and hopefully a hijack if we're ever so lucky. But Daigle, always a pleasure to speak to you.
Always a pleasure to spend time with you, brothers. And still, happy birthday, Ben.
Thank you, mate.
I don't have to say it anymore.
What a great brother.
All right, guys. See you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs. One sec. I'm picturing his wallet.
There you go. In the wallet. There you go.